Hey, this is Cassie, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout outs to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Hola, habla Cindy, está viendo Deportes TV.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So I just read an article via boxerscene.com. Errol Spence, he did an interview here in New York. Wish I knew he was here in New York. I didn't even know he was here. He did an interview downtown Manhattan. But he had a few interesting things to say. He was talking about his legacy. You know, he wants to be mentioned in the likes of Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, Ray Robinson, and Floyd Mayweather. He said that, he wants to, in order to get to be seen in that light with those types of fighters, you know, he said that he has to have those type of fights. You know, he has to have the big fights. So he said that, you know, he really wants to win. He's going to have a fight before 2018 is over with, and then he wants to have the big fights in 2019. One interesting thing he mentioned though was that it doesn't really look like he'll have Terence Crawford fight in 2019, so it's looking like we'll get the Terence Crawford fight in 2020. But I'll break that down to you, right? So what he's saying is that before 2018 is over with, he's gonna have to have. He wants another fight before 2018 is over with because he wants to fight 3 times a year. So he wants to have a fight with an opponent unnamed, you know, yet to be named. But he says next year he wants to have a fight with the winner of Sean Porter Danny Garcia fight, because you know they fight, and if you don't know, they fight August 25th in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Excuse me. So he wants to have the winner. Preferably, his preference is that Danny Garcia wins and he have a fight with Danny Garcia. He really doesn't go into the reason why he would choose Danny Garcia over fighting Sean Porter, but that's his preference, you know. So, you know, he says he don't really know who's going to win, but he's saying that he prefer to fight Danny Garcia. So it's kind of like he's leaning towards Danny Garcia winning that fight, you know. He don't go into it, and I really don't know. I would love to ask him, you know, what's his reasoning for choosing Danny Garcia, because everybody that asks him these questions and he gives the answer of Danny Garcia is never really a follow-up question to figure out the reason why he would choose Danny Garcia over Sean Porter, but that's his preference, you know what I mean? He says that he want to be known as a guy who fought the best, you know what I mean? He's willing to fight the best, always come to the ring 100%, always give it my all, have a big heart. Never shied away from a challenge, is what he said. He goes on to say, he says the Kell Brook was just one of many memorable victories in his career. You know, he wants to be considered an all-time great. I want to be mentioned with the likes of Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, Ray Robinson, Floyd Mayweather, and fighters as such. And he also states that, you know, and then he plans on going 154 pounds and become undisputed at 154 pounds, undisputed super welterweight. If you don't know, 154 pounds is considered super welterweight, and 140 is considered light welterweight, junior welterweight. So there's junior welterweight, which is 140. There's welterweight, which is 147, and there's super welterweight, which is 154. Then you get the middleweight division, starts at 160. Right? So then he goes on to say he wants to be the super welterweight undisputed champion. You know, he said, I mean, those are the goals I can accomplish. I'm 28 years old. I'm young. I have a great manager behind me and Showtime's behind me. So I have a great system behind me, and the sky's the limit, is what is quoted by Errol Spence, you know. He says that he expects to fight an undetermined opponent before the end of this year, and in hopes of getting victories over Danny Garcia or Sean Porter, the winner of that fight, and then he wants Keith Thurman in 2019. He says he wants to fight 3 times a year, but if he gets a fight with Danny Garcia and the winner of Danny Garcia versus Sean Porter, and then he gets a fight with Keith Thurman, which I don't see happening because Keith Thurman has yet to come back in 2018. Keith Thurman hasn't fought since he fought Danny Garcia. So, you know, I really can't see the Keith Thurman fight happening. He says, but that's in this order is his plan is to get a fight with an undetermined, unknown, you know, we don't know TBA opponent to be announced before 2018 is over with. Then his plan is to get the winner of Keith Thurman, to get the winner of Danny Garcia versus Sean Porter, then to get the Keith Thurman fight, and then he plans on fighting Terence Crawford somewhere down the line. So that's looking like if 2019 he gets 2 big fights with Danny Garcia, Sean Porter winner, and if he gets a big fight with Keith Thurman in 2019, I really don't see the Terence Crawford fight happen until 2020. And ironically, the article, the guy who wrote this article, Keith Idec, he doesn't see it happen until 2020 either. And neither does Errol Spence. You know, if they continue to win, Spence and Crawford might not fight until some point in 2020. You know, so that's his plan in that order. His plan in that order, like I stated before, is to get a fight sometime before 2018 is over, then to get a fight with the winner Sean Porter Garcia fight, and then to get Keith Thurman in the ring. To get Keith Thurman in the ring, and he wants to do it all in this order. And then after the Keith Thurman fight, I'm guessing at this point he wants to save the super mega showdown between himself and Terence Crawford for his last fight at 147 pounds. He gets that fight at 147 pounds. He gets that victory because he states that he wants to get a victory over Garcia, Porter winner, Keith Thurman, and Terence Crawford. So then his plan is to move to 154. So it looked like he wants to get it all in that order. And if it was to go that way, as he plans, then we won't get Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence until 2020, excuse me. Because he's going to get a fight in 2018, which will probably be sometime in November, I'm guessing. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing it'll probably be sometime in November. And then he'll have a fight. You know, I'm pretty sure he'll be at the Garcia Porter fight, which takes place in August. So I really can't see, unless he gets one of those fighters, because he said he wants to win them fighters in 2019, the winner of that fight in 2019. So it's not looking like he's going to fight the winner of that fight in 2018, even though that fight takes place in August, and he could fight the winner sometime in December. It's not looking like that they will put that fight together because, you know, on the politics of the sport of boxing. So it looks like they're gonna want to promote it right, you know. Even though the fight takes place in August, the fight to take place in September will still give them all of September, October, and November, and the fight take place in December. So it will give them, you know, 3 months to promote that fight. I guess just the winner of that fight may not be ready to face Errol Spence immediately afterwards. Maybe the winner of that fight takes a light touch fight before fighting Errol Spence in 2019. I could see that taking place. I could see Errol Spence taking on the winner of Devin Alexander, Andre Berto. Maybe taking on, he did mention at one point Jesse Vargas. You know, so I could definitely see that fight taking place. You know, I could see that fight taking place sometime in 2019, due to the fact that he'll probably get a light touch. And I don't want to, you know, disrespect any fighter called Jesse Vargas or Devin Alexander, Andre Berto win a light touch type of fighter. I don't want to say that, you know, but I definitely see. I don't see the Errol Spence Terence Crawford fight happening until 2020 if his plan goes as the script goes as planned. You know, I could definitely see him fighting Terence Crawford in 2020, early 2020. And then I believe his plan is to get that victory over Terence Crawford and then move to 154 and take over that division. Also, I don't really see him fighting Jermell Charlo. So I think that by that time, also by 2020, Jermell Charlo should have been moved up to 160 at that point, to middleweight, because I think give him another year and a half and he'll outgrow 154 himself, because he's a big 154 pounder. If you look at it, you know, he's not too far. His twin brother Jermall Charlo was huge for the division, and he's not too far behind him. I thought that he was more Austin Trout's size, but when they were in the ring, the size difference very apparent. It was very apparent. So I could definitely see Jermell Charlo moving out the division and moving to 160, with Errol Spence moving up to 154, because I definitely don't see them two fighting. You know, seeing their stable mates, they're real close. You know, they have the same trainer, so I don't see them fighting at all. And then, so if Spence was to move to 154, with Jermell Charlo being the king of 154, because I do have Jermell Charlo as the king of 154, even though I know Hurd has unified titles and he has multiple belts. I just see Jermell Charlo as the better fighter. I think that I favor Jermell Charlo to stop Jarvis with Hurd. If they do fight, if they do meet at some point, well, I should say when they do meet, because I believe they're on the collision course to meet. So I definitely think that Jermell Charlo will win that fight. And him being the king of that division, Erislandy Lara just called out Jermell Charlo as well. But him being the king of 154-pound division, Jermell Charlo being the king of 154-pound division, and him being so close to Errol Spence, I definitely don't see them fighting. So it would be very, very difficult for him to become undisputed 154 super welterweight champion with Jermell Charlo in the division, because he would have to take those straps from him, and I just don't see that happening. So I definitely see the Terence Crawford. All signs to me point that Terence Crawford, Errol Spence taking place in 2020. I definitely see that fight taking place in 2020. So, you know, that's all I got for this, man. Drop a comment in the comment section. I can't wait till this fight takes place. It's going to build, you know, it's going to marinate. And in the meantime, we definitely going to get super action-packed, challenging fights for Errol Spence and Terence Crawford both. You know, it's not like the heavyweight division where we clamoring for Deontay Wilder to face Anthony Joshua, because the fact remains that the heavyweight division is not as deep as the welterweight division. You know, we could get Terence Crawford versus Devin Alexander, which would be a good fight. The winner, Devin Alexander, Andre Berto, which I favored Devin Alexander in that fight. That's why I said Terence Crawford versus Devin Alexander. And then I could see Errol Spence taking on the Jesse Vargas. You know, I could see Errol Spence fighting Sean Porter, Danny Garcia winner. I could see Terence Crawford fighting the loser of that fight, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, because they're still going. I think that's going to be a very, very close fight, a very competitive fight, and I'm leaning towards Danny Garcia at this point, but it could go either way. And I see that being a very, very close fight, something like the Sean Porter Keith Thurman fight. So the loser of that fight is not going to fall off the map. So I could definitely see Terence Crawford fighting the loser of that fight. I could see Errol Spence fighting the winner of that fight due to the fact that he's the at this point in time he's the longest reigning welterweight champ outside of Keith Thurman, and we really don't know when Keith Thurman is. I could definitely see because we don't know when Keith Thurman is coming back. So I could definitely see Keith Thurman getting stripped of those titles. You know, at this point in time, man, the mystery of Keith Thurman is really, it's really the greatest mystery in the sport of boxing, man. But you know, the welterweight division is deep, so Errol Spence not facing Terence Crawford right away is not going to be it's not going to hurt the sport of boxing. You know, it's just going to build. It's not like we're going to be like, man, these dudes are fighting nobodies and they should be fighting each other type of deal. You know, because there's definitely other challenges, definitely other big names to clean out. So, you know, it still would be definitely be exciting, you know, time until they do meet. And I think they're on a collision course, because I really don't see nobody defeating either of the other two. But it's still a possibility that they can take a loss to somebody, because the division does carry big names with the opportunity to you know, to upset the apple cart. You know, that's what makes it so interesting, is that, you know, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter could upset the apple cart. They both do have a chance. I'm not saying they don't have a chance to beat Errol Spence or Terence Crawford, you know, so it's definitely a possibility, you know what I mean? But that's all I got for y'all, man. I think that Terence Crawford is looking like Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence won't take place until 2020, according to the script that Errol Spence is mapping out for himself. He sees himself, he doesn't see himself fighting Terence Crawford until 2020, due to the fact that He wants to clean out the his side of the PBC side of the fence, you know. So that's all I got for y'all, man. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV. Let me know what y'all think, man. Make sure y'all drop a comment in the comment section. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. That's all I got for y'all. Shouts out to the whole LDBC. Shouts out to New Media. Shouts out to Black Media Row. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV. And make sure y'all smash that like button. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.